In this world, nothing is truly free, yet the old saying goes that the best things in life are free. So what that shows is that someone has to be lying, and we reckon it's the old curmudgeons who think you can't find a pocket of joy that doesn't cost a dime. They can be a little tougher to find, but you can always find something on the free-to-play pile that is worth your time and attention. And surprisingly enough, that also translates to open-world games. Incredibly, there are games that set you loose in massive open playgrounds ripe for exploring, but unlike most open-world games, they don't ask for an admission price. So, if you're someone who loves the freedom of an open world but doesn't have a few coins to rub together at the moment, then these games could be the perfect thing to help you get your fix. As you might have gathered by this point, the correlation between open world and gacha is a pretty close one. But even amongst the wealth of games vying to muscle in on Hoyo's turf, Infinity Nikki is one of the more unique on the market. Picture this one as an open-world, low-stress version of other gacha games listed here, where exploring and solving puzzles make up the vast majority of your time. Combat isn't important in this world, but fashion, well, that's another story. Your progression, your abilities, and your reputation among your peers in the game are all tied to your threads. And believe me when I say, dressing for the occasion is something that this game allows you to do, and then some. Basically, it's a cozy, fashion-forward gacha game for those less into action and violence. But critically, it still packs in plenty of magic moments. So if you're in need of a new wardrobe, it's time to dive into this one. If you've ever wondered what it would look like if Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, and Breath of the Wild got in a big old pot of gumbo and marinated for a while, then you should play Palia and witness the tasty combination for yourself. It's a cozy MMO that allows you to discard the more action-focused aspects of its contemporaries for something more wholesome, low-key, and cozy, complete with farming, fishing, and friendship. It's rare that you get a game where combat is completely omitted, and even less common is a game with a free-to-play format, devoid of killing and murdering. But going against the grain really works for this calm and serene FTP gem. It's a game where you get out what you put in, but those who want to create a second life they can be proud of and are willing to put in the work will find that Palia is a top-tier time sink. While it may still be in early access and have a rather corporate stink emanating from the cracks in the grip tape, you can't deny that for a free game, Skate is a pretty attractive prospect. While it perhaps doesn't hit the lofty heights of the trilogy it stems from, the gameplay is 9/10 of the way there, with seamless transition skating, stylish parkour, and street spots that would make even the most weathered skater perk up. It's a blast to skate around Sandvan, jam with fellow skaters, and carve out sick lines for yourself that creatively make use of the playground set out before you. It still needs some time in the oven, but that doesn't mean you can't poke your head in and watch it evolve in real time. So, grip up a new board, drop in, and tear it up in Steez's name. Amen. With the rather bleak news for Amazon's other open-world title, New World, you could get the wrong idea about Throne and Liberty. But despite the fate of its sister title, this one is still alive and kicking, and it's a brilliant RPG for the more budget-conscious among us. Playing akin to a classic MMORPG, Throne and Liberty allows you to play any class you like without being penned in by your choices, allows you to make alliances and join guilds to enhance your online experience, and features a vast open world that is a joy to explore at your own pace. Plus, the game also features satisfying traversal, rich upgrade systems, combat that is far from one note, and a story that is probably better than an MMO such as this has any right to be. The jury's out on whether Amazon will invest in this one long term, improve the endgame for the sake of retention, and give the game the continued support it needs, especially in the wake of New World's demise. But at least for now, it's worth diving into.
If you're someone like me who has played Genshin to death and needs something that scratches the same itch but equally tweaks things just enough to keep everything interesting, then you need to check out Wuthering Waves. While it isn't a game from within the Hoyoverse, it's certainly one that is just from the same cloth, with anime-style visuals and Breath of the Wild-style mechanics and exploration. However, this game is much more involved for fans of real-time combat. This game is much more skill-based, asking players to master dodge and parry mechanics, as well as the ecosystem to prevail. Plus, traversal is a lot quicker, satisfying, and slick, making for exploration that doesn't feel like a chore. I will concede that it doesn't even come close to the storytelling on Sho and Tewat, but if you're on the hunt for a more involved and challenging gacha alternative, you can't go wrong with this one.
You might think that if you've seen one open-world survival game, you've seen them all. You'll have some building mechanics, a mix of crafting, looting, and combat to contend with, and you'll have a world where the enemies are a pain, but the players are the true pests. That is all true in one's human, don't get me wrong. But what this game has going for it is that, one, it's free. Then, second, third, and fourthly, it has a sprawling world that's a joy to explore. Combat that feels reminiscent to games like The Division, and a survival systems that keep you on your toes throughout. The hype has died down with this one after a monumental launch, and what remains are the true veterans. However, if you stick with this one, or just play offline for kicks, you'll have a blast in what is one of the only true free survival games of this magnitude.
You might have thought that Skate would be the newest kid on the block, but shockingly, this one is even fresher off the free-to-play conveyor belt. I won't lie, it's not a gacha game that holds a candle to the others on this list, but simply to offer the new flavor of the month, we include this one. That said, though, it isn't entirely without merit. The game does have amazing visuals and a rousing score, not to mention combat that is fun to engage with right from the off, and social aspects that really highlight what's great about the game in ways the solo experience perhaps does not. It might take a little while for this one to shake off the initial haters and refine the product into something that the masses will properly take to. But even if it's a bit of a shaky start, there's certainly potential with this one. And now is your chance to get in on the ground floor. A game that snuck up on me big time was Genshin Impact. Going into the game, thinking it was nothing more than just a Breath of the Wild clone, I was ready to dive in, get the gist, and then bounce to my next flavor of fancy. Then, inexplicably, 150 hours later, I was still there, exploring Taivat, honing my builds, grinding for materials, and praying to the archons above that my primo gems would grant me insane gacha pulls. But even aside from the excellent and addictive gameplay loop, you also have a gorgeous, expansive world to explore, colorful characters that call each distinct region home, and a story that is a lot more gripping than you might think. Like I said, the game took me by surprise, but it's a free-to-play Goliath for a reason. So even if you're late to the party, I would still urge you to check this one out.